Here we will explore the micronutrients, that is the vitamins and the minerals. We'll begin with the vitamins, and in general, micronutrients are named because they are only required in very small quantities within the body. They do not act as an energy source for the body because they do not contain any calories or have any caloric value. So vitamins specifically function as coenzymes, so that is, they work as part of enzymes in order to help make that enzyme function more efficiently. Whether that enzyme is involved in breaking down substances into smaller components, or whether that enzyme is involved in building larger molecules from smaller subunits, such as carbohydrates, proteins, or lipids. So most vitamins are not made by the body, but there are a few that are created within the body. Some examples of vitamins that are made in the body are things like vitamin D. Vitamin D is made within the skin because ultraviolet light from the sun helps to create a vitamin D precursor within the skin, and then from there that's used to manufacture vitamin D. So vitamin D assists with the absorption of calcium by the small intestine, and therefore plays a critical role in the strength of bone tissue because bone tissue is highly dependent upon calcium being absorbed through the small intestine from our diet, and anything that interferes with the ability of calcium to be absorbed from the small intestine is going to be reflected in the fact that bones will be very deficient in calcium minerals. Bacteria in the large intestine make some of the B vitamins as well as vitamin K. B vitamins are important in the formation of nucleic acids as well as amino acids, and vitamin K is important in producing some of the blood clotting factors. So it is important to keep in mind that no one single food source contains all of the vitamins or even all of the types of nutrients for that matter. So a variety of foods in the diet is important in order to obtain the proper proportions of macronutrients as well as the micronutrients. A quick scan of the major dietary sources of things like B vitamins shows that most B vitamins come from meats, grains, as well as a mixture of vegetables. Many B vitamins function as coenzymes in glucose metabolism, in protein metabolism, or in synthesis of nucleic acids during mitosis and cell division. We obtain vitamin C primarily from citrus fruits, tomatoes, or broccoli, and vitamin C functions in the synthesis of collagen in order to strengthen collagen fibers in bones, cartilage, and in ligaments. So this explains why vitamin C deficiency causes a condition called scurvy, where blood vessels are weakened because they are deficient in collagen, and teeth tend to fall out because of the weakening of the ligaments that hold the teeth into the sockets of the upper and lower jaw. Vitamin A comes primarily from dark green leafy vegetables such as spinach and kale, as well as orange vegetables like carrots. Vitamin A is an important component in visual pigments within the eyes, so it's important for maintaining good vision. Vitamin D, in addition to being manufactured in the skin, when the skin is exposed to sunlight, has a tendency to come from dairy products because most dairy products tend to be enriched with vitamin D. And this vitamin helps, as we mentioned before, the small intestine to absorb calcium and phosphorus, which will generally be used as components to build the minerals of the skeleton. Vitamin E is primarily obtained from vegetable oils as well as nuts. It's an important antioxidant. And so often when metabolism breaks down or creates different compounds, it creates oxidized molecules that have a tendency to damage cells or cell membranes. And antioxidants help to reduce that potential damage. Vitamin E therefore functions to remove or help to eliminate those oxidized substances that are created. And finally, vitamin K, which is found in green vegetables as well as tea, in addition to being manufactured by the bacteria in the large intestine, is going to be an important component with blood clotting factors. And any deficiency in vitamin K could lead to hemophilia, which is a condition in which an individual will bleed and will not stop bleeding because their blood is unable to clot correctly. So next we'll examine the minerals. So much like the vitamins, minerals are needed only in small quantities, and therefore they are another important micronutrient. They're not a source of energy, just like the vitamins are, because they also have no caloric value. Minerals in the diet are primarily obtained from things like legumes, that are beans, vegetables, milk, in addition to salts that are added to foods. Minerals have several important functions, including strengthening structures like the bones and the teeth. Minerals are also important in water balance because sodium is the primary mineral that's responsible for helping to maintain the proper amounts of water in the bloodstream as well as in the tissues. Minerals are also critical for proper nerve and muscle function, as we've seen previously. And some trace minerals act as vital components of cells, such as the iron in red blood cells, and also vital components of hormones. So, for example, thyroid hormones contain a mineral called iodine. Calcium is an important mineral for both bones and teeth, as well as proper nerve and muscle function. We see that dairy products are rich in calcium, as well as dark leafy greens such as kale and spinach. Phosphorus is also an important mineral in bones and teeth, and primarily comes from either dairy products or grains. Potassium is a mineral that's important in nerve function as well as acid-base balance within the tissues and within the blood. And potassium primarily comes from both meats and dairy products. And finally, both sodium and chloride primarily come from table salt, and sodium is the main mineral that's involved in water balance and blood pressure regulation by the kidney. Iron is an important mineral that's found in hemoglobin. So recall that the iron atom in the heme group of hemoglobin is what functions to carry the oxygen. Meats, eggs, and beans are important dietary sources of iron. In addition, we also see that iodine is important as well because it is a critical component of thyroid hormones. And iodine specifically comes from seafoods as well as iodized salts.